Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellowshow. My name is Kyle. Tonight, Thursday Night Football. It's December 16th. We have the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers starting in about 45 minutes. So come on in, get settled down. If you guys do have questions, fire them up in the chat room. I'll get to them in just a second. The news today, just so many COVID-19 news and just other player news and practice news in general. So I'm going to kind of just continue to read some of the news. You guys get your questions in there. What's going on, Harris? Hope you're having a good evening. Hope we get all of our fantasy points that we need for tonight. The main headlines for tonight, real quick. Austin Ekeler, Mike Williams, Derwin James are all playing and active. I didn't see any injury reports for them. They look good to go. The Rams just put a huge stack of players to the COVID list, including Von Miller. Let me read this one real quick. Miller was one of 9 Rams to land on the COVID list Thursday evening, bringing the team's total to a staggering 25. So 25 players just on the Rams alone have been added. We do know that the Cleveland Browns have been hit pretty hard. Case Keenum put on the COVID list today. Nick Mullins is in line to start for the Browns here. What's going on, Justin? Thanks for hanging out. We got Green, Kirk, or Parker. So I actually like all of these guys. They're all kind of in that same tier. So for me to say I trust one or the other, I might actually just choose Devontae Parker because he's kind of on his own. It's easier to see him leading the team in targets and production, whereas Green or Kirk, it's kind of a 50-50 call. So I think with this question, I'm going to say Devontae Parker. And I believe Parker was good to go in practice today. Let me just double check this real quick. Devontae Parker, where are you? He was not on the injury report today, so he had the day off yesterday. He's good to go. I'm going to say Devontae Parker is going to lead the Miami Dolphins in targets, yards, receptions, all that good stuff, and he's got the best chance for a touchdown, so I'll go with Devontae. I got to keep Rojo and pick up Kirk Cousins and dropped Christian Kirk. Thoughts? I'm fine with that. Kirk Cousins. I don't think Adam Thielen's going to play. I don't know if that really moves the needle for me one way or the other. But if you're nervous about Matt Stafford and just hedging in case he gets COVID or anything like that, again, the Rams they have 25 guys on the COVID list right now. I think Kirk Cousins is probably one of the better fringe options. So I like keeping Kirk here. I do think I should be concerned about Austin Ekeler. I'm not concerned. I know the report was he's not going to get the full workload, but to be honest, they really don't. Even when Eckler's healthy, they've been giving Justin Jackson and Joshua Kelly enough, carries and samples behind them. So I'm not too concerned about Austin Ekeler. He did have a really nice game against the Chiefs back in Week 3, as did Mike Williams. So at Ekeler, I'm fine. I just want him to come out of this game healthy. I think he's going to be just fine in terms of receptions and rushing ability, though. So Ekeler, I'm fine. I expect him to kind of hit his 14, 15 points floor for PPR league. So Ekeler should be in our lineups tonight. Let's see here. T. Higgins upgraded to full practice today. That's a good news. The new COVID update. With the Rams one, I know there's new the COVID protocols are coming in from the NFL earlier today. That's a lot of items going on. This one's interesting. I just saw that James Robinson did not practice today. This was expected after the Jaguars put a load management plan for their starter. So hopefully this is just load management, but James Robinson did not practice today. Let me see what else we got here. There's the Charger news. Joe Burrow practiced in full today, so I'm feeling pretty good about the Bengals. Let me see what else. Damien Harris. I thought I was getting a lot of Damien Harris questions earlier today. He's questionable right now. He's been practicing limited, so I think he's looking good to play. I think if you have him, you're trying to get him in there as a low end running back too. Let me see what else here. The Browns are just in a downward spiral right now. First Baker Mayfield, then Case Keenum. In comes Nick Mullins here. I really don't know if I like any of the Browns. I think Nick Chubb's the only Brown that I think I can start. And then Njoku's an interesting tight end streamer, but he does lose a little bit of appeal if Nick Mullins is the QB. Although back in the day, like when Nick Mullins was playing with George Kittle, he would fire it up to the tight end just fine. Yeah, so this is just a day of rest for J-Rob. And he's been dinged up, so it does make sense. He just needs to practice tomorrow, and you're good. Drop Darnell Mooney or Mark Ingram. To be honest, probably both. I don't really know if you're going to need these guys the rest of the way. Mark Ingram I think he's coming back from COVID. So, if I had to keep one, Mark Ingram, again, he can't really get COVID again. So I think I might keep Ingram just because of the nature of the running back position. I'd probably keep Ingram if I had to. Mooney, so no Allen Robinson. He was put on the COVID list here, so Mooney's interesting. I have a hard time trusting him. But if you're not using either of these guys, I think they both could be dropped in their own right. Everett or Higbee. So Higbee's got a really nice matchup this week against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks are allowing the 5th most tight end points here. So Higbee intrigues me. And again, with no Odell Beckham, there's going to be more targets up for grabs. Whereas Gerald Everett, potentially no DK Metcalf. We already know Tyler Lockett's ruled out. Everett could just be a target monster here. So I think in terms of floor, I like Everett. But if you want that kind of upside, Higbee would be nice. But I think I'm going to say Everett here. And Taysom or Stafford. This one's tough because we're trusting Taysom to run the ball against Tampa Bay. We just saw Josh Allen rush for 100-some yards last week here. So Taysom does have that kind of built-in floor, whereas Matthew Stafford right now, I don't know if I like the amount of points that are going to be scored in that Rams Seattle game here, especially with Russell Wilson and his offense looking kind of deflated right now. So I'm probably going to say Taysom Hill over Stafford here. Do you think Elijah Mitchell will play? Let me just double check his practice report. I don't know if San Fran loaded theirs up today. I don't see anything here. I thought he was working on the side. I don't know too much about Elijah Mitchell yet. Let me just Twitter search this real quick. It sounds like they are preparing so he was working on the side field today. So at least he was at practice, kind of doing some stuff on the side. So I think we're not going to have a better idea until tomorrow. But it's a good sign that he's working on the side. That means that he's getting conditioning and things like that in. So what's going on, Aiden? Thanks for hanging out tonight. Mike Williams or Amari Cooper. So I really like Amari Cooper's matchup here against the Giants, but Mike, I think I'm going to go with Mike Williams. Just the amount of points that are going to be scored in this game tonight, I think it's going to be a higher scoring game. But I believe the over/under was put up at about 52 points. So Mike Williams, he dominated week 3. These two teams met, and Mike Williams had like 7 catches for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I know the Chiefs are one of the best defenses in the league as of today, but I think I'm going to give Mike Williams the benefit of the doubt. Monty missed practice. Let me see here. So David Montgomery, he did not practice. They're listing him as an illness, so I don't know what that is. Hopefully he can get through tomorrow. But yeah, for now, Montgomery did not practice with an illness. I haven't seen any expressed concern, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. You think Hill scores a TD? Let me just pull up real quick. I want to go to my friendly statmuse.com. Let me type in Tyreek Hill versus Chargers game logs. Let's see what we're working with here. So back in week 3, Tyreek Hill, he had 5 catches for 56 yards and an 11-yard carry. So he had 11 or 10 points in PPR leagues. Last year, he only appeared in 1 game, but he caught 5 for 99 and a touchdown. In the past year, I'm seeing a game in 2018. He had 7 for 169 and 2 touchdowns. So he does play pretty well against the Chargers. I'll give him a touchdown tonight. I think it's going to be a Hill, Kelsey, everyone kind of get right kind of night, and we'll see what happens here. But I like Tyreek Hill tonight. Tua Tagovailoa or Matthew Stafford. I'm just getting concerned about all of the Rams guys testing positive right now for COVID. It makes me just wonder. I want to actually pull up and see. Again, they just sent 9 more guys to the COVID list tonight. I'm looking for the offensive line. So there's an offensive tackle here, an offensive guard. So just 2 offensive linemen. I don't know if these guys are starters, but I'm probably going to lean with Tua because Tua at least has some rushing upside. He still has Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki. They don't really have a running back. So I think the Dolphins are going to continue to throw the ball even though Jalen Waddle's not there. So I think Tua is probably the guy I'm going to go with. And yeah, that's a big sign right there. Darrell Bevell, he's coached before in Seattle and Detroit. He always just kind of had his one running back where he would just pummel all the carries and all the receptions too. And it's looking like no Carlos Hyde this weekend. So it looks like they're preparing James Robinson to kind of, probably flirt with 15, 20 touches and probably get a touchdown or 2. Pick one non-PPR: Stevenson, Brandon Cooks, or Miles Sanders. I'm going to go with Brandon Cooks. Sanders, he's yet to score a touchdown all year. I don't know if we're going to see one of those anytime soon. Whereas Brandon Cooks, I mean, Davis Mills has shown to have a pretty good connection with him, and it's against Jacksonville. So the defense does not really excite us. So I think I'm going to say Brandon Cooks. He should be good for 80 to 100 yards and get the full chance to capitalize against the Jaguars. Waddle has a chance to play. We got hope. And yeah, he just needs the two negative tests. We'll see if Waddle can play. So I still like Tua even without Waddle, because he's going to get Devontae Parker back, which I think is going to be a good play this week. But they have a lot of that offense just has a lot of pieces, whether it's Albert Wilson, Preston Williams. Sometimes they whip out, some of the running backs out there too. So I still think Tua is going to have a good time moving the football, but maybe he relies a little bit more on his legs. And again, just with no running back, maybe he gets a rushing touchdown, something like that. I think it's going to be more Tua-based offense this week without the running backs. Tonight, so the Chargers won back in week 3. I don't know if I feel like the Chargers can win. It is in LA, so that feels pretty good. But I think the smart money would be to take the Chiefs. Chargers, we'll go 30 to 27. I think it's going to be a fun, high-scoring game tonight. Jags or Texans. If this is for fantasy, I'm not starting either of these defenses. I'm probably going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think there's just a release of energy, with the firing of Urban Meyer. Curious what Aiden thinks on finally getting Meyer out of there. If you're still with us, Aiden. Parker, Kirk, or Green. I'm going to go Devontae Parker. And it's easy for me to take Devontae Parker because I know he doesn't have to compete with anyone. He doesn't have to compete with Jalen Waddle for targets, unless Waddle plays, of course. But for now, Parker is going to be the main target, whereas Kirk and Green, I can't guarantee which one is going to be the guy leading the team in targets. Green did look best, so if I had to rank them, I'm going to say Parker, Green, and then Christian Kirk. But let me get back to some of these player updates here. The Aaron Jones not practicing today, I think that's more. It does say illness/knee, so I'm just wondering if they're just letting him, take the day off and focus on getting ready for Sunday. But we'll wait and see. Marquise Brown also had an illness, and a lot of these practice reports that are just saying illness. I think teams are just being really cautious with their guys, and hopefully Aaron Jones and Marquise Brown are good to go. The Fournette thing is weird. Yesterday they didn't really express any concern, but now that he's just a full DNP today, that makes me a little bit worried. So at the moment right now, I'd say 50-50. We'll get a good idea tomorrow. Yep. The COVID-19 is really going to affect our fantasy playoffs. Yep. That's the best part about having AJ Dillon. So let me see. So yeah, the Fournette missing the second day of practice with the ankle is concerning. They don't have Giovanni Bernard, so Ronald Jones would be the guy starting there. I don't know if I love starting Ronald Jones. I guess I'd have to know who you are comparing him up against. Wilson Jr. or David Johnson. So I just don't really trust David Johnson in his role. I think if Waddle doesn't play, I'm going to say Albert Wilson's probably the better play. Tell me why up 14 when you gave the ball to Dillon over Jones. The game was won and out of hand. They didn't want to give more wear and tear to Aaron Jones, and I just think this was something that I thought of earlier in the season. As the weather gets cold, AJ Dillon is a cold weather running back. He's a guy you don't want banging on you as a defender. You don't want to be tackling AJ Dillon in the fourth quarter. So I think this is the recipe that is probably likely to stick around. They're going to use Aaron Jones as the weapon to start the game. But as the game wears on, AJ Dillon's going to continue to inflict punishment. And I think right now, Aaron Jones, he's still the 1A in terms of offensive priority. But if the Packers are up and winning, they're going to ice the game with AJ Dillon. They'd rather have Dillon taking the hits over Jones. Keeping Jones healthy, I think, is a very big priority right now for the Packers. The game was great for you. Yep, it was a good one, and then I'll be back there on Christmas Day against the Cleveland Browns. So excited to check that out. Um, yep, and yeah, Jones is still the primary passing down back. It was interesting to see him get the goal line touchdown. I think that was a really good sign for Aaron Jones. But to be honest, like this offense really isn't that much different than it has been in the past with Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams in the past, I think last year he probably racked up over 130 carries, so he did average 8 to 10 carries per game. And at the moment right now, it's just AJ Dillon is good, so they want to get him the ball and they want to keep both guys fresh. It's a marathon. Do you like Malcolm Brown this week? Probably not. If you're looking to start a running back, I think like Jordan Howard might be a better pickup. Going up against the banged up Washington football team right now. Not only are they banged up, but they have a lot of COVID issues and stuff right now. And why was it a Lazard MVS? From what I saw, is that when they sent MVS deep, they really paid attention to it. So Lazard was kind of getting open underneath on some things. Lazard had the big play, I think, early in the first quarter as well to extend a drive. But Lazard is he's a better blocker, so that's what's keeping him on the field right now. And then with MVS, I think it was just a lot of safety attention. The Bears did not want to get beat deep. They kind of just let everything stay in front of them for the most part. And Lazard was just due. Starting Mahomes and Allaire. Good luck. I'm starting Austin Eckler and Mike Williams tonight. But I have some competition. I guess a lot of people are probably getting fantasy points in this one this week. Who do you think Jags head coach will be? I hope it's Kellen Moore against Night Eric the Enemy. Those are both good candidates. I do think Tampa Bay's candidates are pretty interesting too. If you look at the defensive-minded Todd Bowles or Byron Leftwich, I think both those guys are probably going to get some interviews. But as far as like offensive-minded players, Kellen Moore would be very ideal. But for me, if I'm Kellen Moore, I have Dak and I have all these receivers. It might be a little difficult here, but I guess the prize is Trevor Lawrence. That's the chip that they're going to sell to this next head coach. But we'll see. I do think they probably want an offensive-minded coach to pair with Trevor Lawrence. Don't really want to get him a defensive guy, but it could be fun. It could be fun. I'm excited to see. I don't want to see Josh McDaniels. I don't think that's going to help him. But I do think Kellen Moore, Eric Bieniemy, and then possibly Byron Leftwich gets a look there. Got IT, yes. I think I should not play Sony and Jefferson this week. Jefferson Jr. Do you think I should not play Sony? Is that Jeff Wilson Jr.? If Darrell Henderson's not playing, you want to play Sony Michel. That's going to be Sony Michel. If Darrell Henderson doesn't play, Sony Michel's going to eat this game. He's going to get probably 20 plus touches. So I love Sony Michel. For Jefferson Jr., who is Jefferson? Are we talking Jamar? Is that Jamar Jefferson there, Harris? Because we should. Oh, Van Jefferson. Okay, Van Jefferson. No, I feel really good about Sony, especially if our guy Darrell Henderson's not playing. But with no Odell Beckham, I mean, Van Jefferson's going to be the second most used receiver on the field. So Van's going to be a good start. Seattle's defense doesn't really scare me, so I think both Sony and Van are good news. With Henderson, I don't know what it is. They haven't been putting out any reports. I think it's because he's on the COVID list, so he doesn't show up on the official practice report. But the fact that he hasn't been cleared yet, I really don't know what to expect here. I think at the moment right now, Sony Michel is in line to get the bulk of the carries. And you just think about a player who's been off for about 2 weeks now. He's coming back from COVID. He's nursing some injuries still. I think Sony Michel's probably the guy to lead the team in carries and snaps this week yet. See, they're probably going to scrap everything, to be honest. They kind of just need a new reset button and see what they can do from there. That could be fun. He's starting the Jags D. Interesting. I mean, there is something that is there. When you look at a team that had this nagging thing hanging over them, that was Urban Meyer. that lifts a weight of pressure. The energy is going to be different around there. It wouldn't surprise me to see the Jags having a little bit more fun this week. It could be a really good thing for just team morale. And yeah, that's what's cool. Like that's what's good about getting rid of Urban Meyer with 4 games to go. You're giving the rest of the coaching staff a chance to see what they can do, and now you can get some. Players are realizing that, hey, like, new stuff's happening next year. We got to try and make this team. So I think it's a really good, a 4-game stint here to see what's sticking around in Jacksonville, who wants to be there, kind of thing. This one, it's Aaron Rodgers. The Baltimore Ravens secondary is just not good. I think in terms of fantasy points allowed, the Ravens are giving up the 9th most QB points so far this year per game. They've allowed 21 touchdowns and they've only got 6 interceptions. I think Rodgers is pretty good for 3 touchdowns, whether that's 3 passing or 2 rushing or 2 throwing and 1 rushing. So I think Rodgers gets 3 TDs this week. But he has the Ravens and Pats starting the Jags. Interesting. Well, I don't think you want to start the Ravens D against the Packers, but the Patriots D, I think I would consider starting the Patriots D over the Jags. I don't know if that makes sense. What is the worst head coach hiring of all time? It might go down as Urban Meyer. I'm trying to remember in my past here. Nothing really sticks out as much as Urban Meyer right now. The Houston Texans had a pretty questionable coach, David Culley. A lot of people were like, what's going on here? But I think for now, it might go down as Urban Meyer. I really can't remember that many coaches that really didn't even last 11, 12 games. So we'll see. This one's Aaron Rodgers, no question. Aaron Rodgers is the MVP candidate right now. The Packers are rolling. I don't want to dabble with Gardner Minshew if he is the starter. But what do you guys need in the game tonight? I would love Austin Eckler and or Mike Williams to get in the touchdown tonight. And I'm just hoping it's a fun fantasy game, because sometimes whenever we get excited about a Thursday night football game, we usually get disappointed. But I'm hopeful tonight's going to have a lot of fireworks. Arizona or Miami defense? I'm going to lean Miami defense just because the Lions are just pesky. I know they kind of shit the bed last week in Denver. And no TJ Hawkinson, no DeAndre Swift probably this week either. But the Lions at home, I still think they're going to be pesky and maybe score 2 touchdowns and a field goal or something. So I think Miami. I trust Miami against the Jets at home too. So work on the sideline. The Hill touchdown. The Hill feels good. Eckler and Justin Herbert today. Well, hopefully we get some of those Austin Eckler receiving touchdowns. I think that feels pretty good. And then just with Tyreek, like the Chiefs are winning games because of their defense right now. They need to get, like, Tyreek Hill has been really quiet like the last month of football, and their offense really just hasn't been. It hasn't been that fun to watch, to be honest. Like, they're doing Tyreek Hill type stuff with some of the other receivers right now, where Tyreek Hill, let's see, he hasn't scored a touchdown since week 10. I think that needs to change. So he's on a 3-game streak here of no touchdowns. They got to open it up and get him rolling, and hopefully he gets pummeled with targets. And I'd rather see Tyreek Hill go off than Travis Kelce tonight, I think. So we'll see. Bobby Petrie. Yeah, the Atlanta debacle. That one was a bad one. Good call. Yep. These college coaches, man, they have a rough time. I think it's easier to go from a college coach to more of a coordinator position or some kind of assistant, and then kind of work your way through. But it's very difficult. You're talking to 2 different, college kids versus professionals. But work sideline. Correct. Mitchell was not included. He got a DNP, but he was working on the side. So kind of the same thing as Darrell Henderson. Josh Jacobs or Ezekiel Elliott? Whew, that's tough. Because Jacobs plays Saturday. I don't really feel great about that Raiders-Browns game. I think it's going to be an ugly game, but I do expect Josh Jacobs to continue to get his usage. He's been a really good receiving back. So that keeps him involved in that aspect of the game. And just with the Browns limited right now, they have so many guys on the COVID list here. I think Josh Jacobs is probably going to rack up, upwards of 15 to 20 touches. So I'm going to say Josh Jacobs here. Whereas Ezekiel Elliott, like it doesn't feel exciting anymore. I would rather just fall into the 8 to 10 points from Josh Jacobs. He's got a really good chance at a touchdown as well. And if Tony Pollard comes back, that's going to take some of the steam off. Yeah, Saban struggled when he was with Miami. Henderson, if he plays, Penny, Ramondre, if Harris is out, non-PPR. So if Harris is out, you want to play Ramondre. Because even if Henderson plays, he still has to deal with the Sony Michel, who's been playing pretty good football lately. So I'm going to rank the best. If no Harris, you want to play Ramondre. But I have a feeling, Harris is going to play. So it's looking like Rashad Penny might be the most effective back that you have here. To be honest, like not all of them are great plays. Rashad Penny has been pretty frustrating to own over his career so far. So like it's a hard trust here. So hopefully Harris would sit for you in this case. But I think for now you have to go with Rashad Penny. He's the hot hand, and he's going to get the touches against the Rams. Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the Baker Mayfield tweets that came out. There's a lot of talk about that right now. Amon-Ra St. Brown or Dallas Goedert. I'm going to go with Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's the only game in town for receivers. He's a poor man's Cooper Kupp. Jared Goff is very good at throwing to that slot type receiver. So if this is full PPR, I want Amon-Ra St. Brown in my lineup. And again, it's the Cardinals. The Cardinals should score points against them. The Lions are going to have to throw the ball. St. Brown's probably going to be busy for 10 targets or so at least. Pick one. So I don't know how many I'm supposed to pick. This is half PPR though. Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Parker, Terry McLaurin, Marquise Brown, or KJ Osborne. I'm not too excited about KJ Osborne. I think he's kind of fluky. If he didn't get that bomb touchdown last week, he's going to be pretty low for 3 or 4 points. But with that being said, I really like Devontae Parker this week. He's going to have almost no competition for targets. I think he's probably my favorite one of the group here. With Marquise Brown, I like Marquise Brown only if Lamar Jackson plays. Right now, that looks more doubtful. So, and then with Terry McLaurin potentially coming back from the concussion, we still don't know if he's going to play. Even if he does play, he's going to get a tough matchup from Darius Slay. Although Darius Slay has said that Terry McLaurin's one of the toughest receivers he's ever had to defend. So I'm interested there a little bit. Brandon Ayuk is coming on really, really well and playing against Atlanta. So to me, it's between Parker or Brandon Ayuk. But just with Parker being the only kind of receiver in town, I think I'm going to go with Devontae Parker. And no problem, man. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you get everything you need tonight. And yeah, I'm going to lean with Devontae Parker here. Again, just no other receiver in town, really. The Jets are the Jets. Van Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, or KJ Osborne. So I think in terms of the safest floor, that's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown, even if that's 5 catches for 52 yards. Like he's gonna get targets in that offense. So he has the safest floor. If you need some upside though, a guy like Van Jefferson, I think he's got the highest ceiling. And he's going to be on the field a lot just because no Odell Beckham. He's going to be on the field almost 90+% of the snap. So it's kind of a risk reward situation. If you need the high upside, go Van Jefferson. If you need just a safe, steady, I just want to lock in 10-12 points, go with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Matt Bain, what up, dude? You got to get to writing on that the Fantasy Fellowship the playoff preview. But Lazard or Marvin Jones? Jones is interesting. One, being a Packer fan, though, like this Packers passing offense against the Baltimore Ravens is going to be really, really juicy. I don't know if Lazard can stack up 2 good games in a row. I think it might be a Marquez Valdes-Scantling game. But for me, it comes down to this. Would I rather – because we don't even really know how many targets Marvin Jones is going to get. We also don't know how many targets Allen Lazard's going to get. So in a situation like this, I think I'm looking at which quarterback do I want to be attached to? I'm going to take Aaron Rodgers and Allen Lazard on that side. James Conner, I don't know. We'll see. I think tomorrow is a big day. If he doesn't get eliminated in tomorrow, he's not going to play. It's 50-50 right now. I kind of hope he plays. I do hope he plays. But to be honest, they're headed to Detroit. I don't know if they're going to need James Conner in this one, so it might make sense to rest him up. Give me Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup has been steady. I think over the last 4 games, he's averaged 9 targets per game. He's been playing very good football. Dak trusts him. Stick with Michael Gallup. He's the safest and probably has the best upside. No problem, Justin. And Matt Bam just finished. All right, I can't wait to read that when I'm done with this. Would you take Mike Carter or Duke Johnson over Stevenson Penny? They are Michael Carter. Go get Michael Carter. I know we don't like the upside of the Jets offense this week, but just they're so beat up at the receiver position. Michael Carter is coming back. Carter in a PPR format does look pretty good, assuming this is full PPR. I can't remember here. Non-PPR, my bad. But if the Jets get close, Michael Carter is going to be that guy. So for now, I would say this. Best case scenario, you start Stevenson. If no Damien Harris, then pivot to Penny. And then I would probably rank Michael Carter underneath there. So I think I'm going to stick with Penny. Najee Harris or Deontay Johnson or Mike Evans, half PPR. Evans always kind of struggles against the Saints. I think he's the one guy that sticks out to me. In a question like this, I'm going to go with the touches. I'm going to go with Najee Harris. He's involved in the passing game, and he's going to be the guy that can rush for the touchdown. So I think Najee provides the best, and especially because it's half PPR, I'm going to go with Najee. Michael Gallup or Amon-Ra St. Brown. The chances of a Dallas receiver touchdown is a lot greater than a Lions receiver touchdown. So I think for Harris, he plays a lot of standard leagues. I'm going to go with Michael Gallup. He should be good for 60 to 80 yards and has the best odds for a touchdown. So but that's going to do it for tonight. I got to get ready before the game starts. If you guys do have any more questions, fire them up in the chat. I can get to them after the game as well. Real quick, though, Mike Evans or Brandon Cooks, non-PPR, pulling at my heartstrings here. Because I do think Brandon Cooks is in for a good game. I think he's actually a pretty safe guy for 70 to 100 yards. But in this situation, kind of like what I just said before when I answered another question about Gallup and St. Brown, which team is more likely to throw passing touchdowns to the wide receivers? Is it the Bucs or the Texans? I think I'm going to go with Mike Evans in this one. He did catch a touchdown back when the Saints played earlier. So again, a lot of my tiebreakers comes down to who's throwing my guy the ball. So, but anyways, I hope that helps. Enjoy the game tonight. I might pop in live tomorrow night. Otherwise, I'll go live Saturday night for sure. So stay on the lookout for that later. But anyways, enjoy the game. Good luck. I hope you get everything you need, and take it easy. Peace.